Hi everyone, this is Aaron, and today I am with Pastor John Cito. Pastor John, I have a question specifically for you, and it relates to the college young adult crowd. The question is, how do you know that the person you are dating is the person you're supposed to marry?
It's a good question. You don't. Just kidding. Sort of. Actually, to be more clear, I think first of all, you have to think about God's will as a general direction. In other words, I don't think there's a thing where you're going to, oh, if there's some halo that appears above her head or above his head, then I know that's God's sign that he is the one. I don't think you're going to get an answer like that from God. Okay, but God does lay out some parameters. He lays forth some guidelines to help you in your selection process for that future spouse that God would call you to marry. He says that they need to be a Christian, right? 2 Corinthians 6 says, do not be yoked together with unbelievers. So you know that the person that you're looking for has got to be a believer. You also know that marriage is between a man and a woman. It means that the person you're looking for also has to be of the opposite sex. Furthermore, you are called to have a close union and relationship with each other. So that also means that you need to be able to talk to each other and to communicate at a very good level. And then beyond that, you also just need to be able to grow together and point one another towards Christ. You know, when you pray, God will not send you the first name, middle initial, and last name along with the social security number to identify that person. Instead, God gives you some outlines. He gives you some guidelines, actually. He gives you, and that person needs to be a believer. That person needs to be of the opposite sex. That person needs to be able to communicate. You need to be able to have a free-flowing and a deep conversation with each other. And lastly, you need to be able to grow in such a way with that person so that you are both pointing each other towards Jesus Christ. So, backtrack to the original question. You know because that matches those guidelines. But you don't know in terms of is this the right person or am I the wrong or is this the wrong person? Because as long as those guidelines fit, it really comes down to a matter of discernment and a matter of choosing whether you want to make the person you are dating the one.
Thanks, Pastor John, and thank you everyone for listening. I do see all of your questions in our inbox, and we will get to them as soon as possible. If you see me at church, you can ask me your questions in person, and I will be sure they make it into an episode of Uniqua Questions. The great thing about Tumblr is that you can ask your questions anonymously, so feel free to ask us all of your questions or check out our archive at uniquoiquestions.tumblr.com. Thanks, see you soon.